group stages. We're approaching the end very rapidly here, at least in the group stage. I have, of course, your host, Yaku of the Zaku, and with me today is El Ganadero de Cabras que conduce un Mitsubishi Lancer, Light_VIP. How we doing, Light?
What's up, Yaku? We are back. It's great to be back here with, as you said, another day of WTL. Oh my god, we have been on a bit of a hiatus again. World Team League does usually take a break if there's ever some big events going on, like EWC qualifiers or Home Story Cup. But now we're here. Now
Both
we are
of which
back.
happened, funnily enough, in between the last round of the WTL group stage and this one. Which is why, like you said, we had a bit of that hiatus, but we are back and we are not yet quite concluding our group stage, but we're approaching the end here, and we're starting to get fewer and fewer chances for teams to really lock in their seed into the playoffs.
Exactly. We're here at round 8. There are 11 rounds in total, and we're running out. We're running out of rounds, Poppy. Running out of chances, and it's going to come down to the wire here for a lot of these teams. Starlight Twinkle versus Berserker eSports is going to be coming up first, and this, I'll be honest, this was a hard one to call. I had some really hard times kind of picking players here when it came to predictions.
Yeah, and for good reason. If we actually look at the standings right now, Starlight Twinkle and Berserker eSports are both neck and neck. They're actually tied when it comes to series score, but with Berserker eSports having a slightly better map score here, and this is going to be a very important match for both of them. There is still hope for either team to make it out and get into the playoffs, but they need to win this series, and then I believe they need to win at least 2 out of 3 of the final 3 series after this week.
Oh yeah, exactly. And when it comes to the standings here between these two teams, Berserker eSports and Starlight Twinkle, technically Berserker eSports does have a chance to make it out of the group stage from my understanding. Actually, my apologies, both Berserker and Starlight Twinkle, they're actually tied up when it comes to their overall standings here. 1 win and 6 losses so far, so math-wise, I think they can still make it out, but it's going to come down to this series.
That's math, yeah.
Yeah.
It really does. And it's not going to be difficult. It's going to be a very tough road for both of them moving forward, but this is very much the beginning. I actually looked at some of the next matches that they have after this. After this week, Berserker eSports is going to go up against Team Liquid, Offsite plus Gabe, and Basilisk Gaming, so pretty tough names over there. Starlight Twinkle having a slightly less imposing time, but still a pretty tough time as well. They're also going to be facing Offside, but their opponents are Storm Navi and Shopify Rebellion after that.
Yeah, as you said, it's not going to get easier. It's not going to get easier for them, but they do have a chance. They do technically have chances to make it out into the playoffs and avoid relegation. But as we mentioned, they do have to kind of win most of their matches from here on forward. For those that are curious, again, it's still quite close between kind of the lower half of the standings here. We have a lot of teams that are currently 3-4, which again is still within arm's length here, arm's reach for teams like Starlight Twinkle and Berserker eSports. So I want to believe that they can still, advance on and can still make it through, but the pressure is on.
Yeah, pressure is definitely on, which I think really goes to show what this specific how this specific season of WTL has kind of thrown a lot of things off of balance. There aren't really teams that are highly favored because of how we're now having teams combining their players, which had small teams that had pretty strong players combining forces to compete. Also a little bit of the hiatus of a couple of big names such as Cyril and whatnot, so it's a little bit less predictable when it comes to the group stage this time around, and I think the standings right now kind of reflect that.
Yeah, exactly. And here we go. Looks like we finally have our players ready for us here. Up first, when it comes to this Team League match, we have a PvP between Krystianer and DNS. Krystianer, of course, I would say the ace player of Starlight Twinkle. DNS, that might even be the ace player for Berserker. I always have a really hard time counting GunGFuBanDa out, but at the same time, he's just so inconsistent.
Yeah, I have to agree with you there. I think that we are kicking things off extra spicy this week with the Battle of the Aces. Both of them Protoss players coming down. Both of them from teams which I think are kind of underdogs in this season.
Yeah, but it's always one of those things where even if they go down in a series, they always go down fighting, right? You can always count on DNS and Krystianer to take maps and to take series as well. That's the other important thing about this team league is that even though you have these two teams, at the bottom of the standings, they always bring down some big names. It's been really cool to see both of these players actually do quite well, like relatively speaking, in WTL.
Yeah, to kind of clutch it out. I feel like there are a couple of specifically Protoss players, for whatever reason, in each of these teams that you can really count on to just clutch out a victory out of nowhere. Krystianer is one of them, DNS here is one of them, Firefly is probably another one for offsite gaming.
Yeah.
Always the Protoss boys, for whatever reason.
Exactly. You can always count on them. And here we go, we're diving into game one.
And over here in the bottom left-hand corner of the map, wrapping that SLT jersey, the blue Protoss player for Starlight Twinkle from Poland. That's Krystianer.
That's all right. We have as well. We have Berserker eSports DNS. We are again going to be settling into that PvP, and game one is going to be on Crimson Court. As a reminder to those in the chat, the first map is predetermined. There is no vetoes. There is no picking for the first map either. We're forcing our players onto the court.
Indeed, we are. We're throwing them off the deep end, just dropping them into whatever the name of that island in Apex Legends is called.
They have a name for it?
I'm pretty sure there is.
Okay. Is there a name for the Fortnite island?
There has to be. I think there are multiple Fortnite islands now, if I think about it.
Okay, fair enough. Is there a name for the PUBG island?
There has to be, right?
God. These games. I thought we just dropped that. Okay, fair enough.
Yeah. Where are we dropping? You don't know.
Yeah, true. Like, really, the better question is, like, the maps, they have to have names. Otherwise, what do the casters say whenever they cast, like, Apex and PUBG, right? When they introduce the start of the game.
Yeah, exactly. Which direction?
Yeah.
You know?
Oh, God. I could just imagine you casting, like Apex.
And drop here in the top left.
Well, you have to hold on to the and until they drop. Like,
until they land, yeah.
Because you don't know where they're dropping.
At one point, one of them does the parachute at the very beginning, and so it's a very slow descent.
Oh, God.
I have to just keep it.
Aye. In my mind, that's what Apex casters do. 100%.
It has to be.
Yeah.
What else would they do?
Yeah, right. There's nothing else to talk about. I mean,
exactly.
God. For now, we're going to be settling into our PvP. We just have DNS going for his tech of choice, going for a Stargate opener, at least initially. Krystianer doing none of the sort, opening up with Adepts. We're looking to move out across the map, so we'll see if we can try to bypass our opponent here. We'll see how aggressive we can be, as Krystianer is making a second set of Adepts as well.
Yeah, a little bit more... Wait. Yeah, a little bit more aggressive coming out here from Krystianer with these couple of Adepts. He is looking to just snipe as many probes as he can, whereas DNS taking on more of a defensive stance with the Stalkers. Of course, he's not neglecting his tech, so we will still be seeing an Oracle soon past the map.
Yeah, we do have that Oracle, that Stargate opener out of DNS, as we did mention, looking to harass into the mineral lines. At the same time, Adepts likewise turning shades, and we are making another pair as well. We're getting up to 6 Adepts, but it looks like we actually get caught out here. Not bad shots going off on the initial Stalkers, and at the same time, though, it is going to be a 4v4 Adepts versus the Stalkers. Oh.
Yeah, I have to imagine the Stalkers should take this, especially with Oracle support, but great target firing coming out from Krystianer. He at least is able to trade decently. He's forcing out a lot of energy as well. on this Oracle, going to make it even less effective when it gets across the map.
Yeah, exactly. That's going to be 4 Adepts going down. And what did we get? We got 1 Stalker, a big loss for Krystianer. That was a big investment. He has 2 more Adepts on the field. Now, what is scary here is it tells me that DNS has an abundance of units to work with. He's heavily ahead here in army supply. He's moving out across the map. He does spot the Adepts, and it looks like he will divert some of his attention, but his Stalkers are still moving out.
They are Oracles actually being kept at home, which is definitely an interesting choice, but they're not a bad defensive unit. More Adepts going to go down, 1 more going to go down here, and the other one taking significant hull damage.
Yeah, we do recall the 1 Adept, but back at home, we're down to 2 Stalkers against, I believe, the 5, soon to be 6 of DNS. Oracles are moving out as well. This is going to be a tight hold for Krystianer. He does have the shield battery, but as I say, that is being focused down.
Yeah, once again, this goes back to the lack of units that Krystianer really has here. Losing those Adepts in the middle of the map really hurt, and now the Oracles are distracting the Stalkers. Stalkers snipe the shield battery, and there's not a whole lot that Krystianer can really do here to keep his mineral life intact.
The overcharge was going to be the saving grace here for Krystianer. He has to pull back. Adepts have arrived for the side of DNS. It looks like for the time being we are holding on. That's going to be 2 probes going down, and we shade into the main.
And probes are going down in the main. Adepts will finally be cleaned out, but Krystianer... Okay, I was going to say Krystianer doesn't really have a lot of supply to split up between his bases, but DNS, he doesn't want to overextend. He's going to be content with the damage that he's dealt, and he's going to move back home with the rest of the Stalkers.
Yeah, he does move back home, but he takes a nice worker lead. Likewise, we have Oracles as well, and they do stay alive. They do retain themselves. They're going to be able to dip back in, get a Revelation, and even threaten another dive into a mineral line, keeping Krystianer pinned back with that supply, with those Stalkers. And DNS can be a little bit greedier as a result. He can more freely expand and probe up.
Yeah, that's going to be the play here, as DNS will be expanding. Krystianer actually expanding a little bit quicker, so a little bit of a risk here for him, but we'll see if it pays off. This 3rd did get scouted by DNS, so yeah, now he's applying pressure on it.
Yeah, that's the thing. DNS is the one with map control, so he's going to be applying pressure here. He is up in Stalkers. Blink is still on the horizon. Blink is not quite done yet for DNS, so he has to be careful with how he does approach this. Force fields will be that much more impactful here without Blink, but in a couple of seconds, that will soon finish up.
I appreciate how brazen DNS is taking this, throwing down a 4 pylon like this. Unfortunately, it is within range of observers, and that was killed rather than cancelled.
Yeah, that was shut down. At the same time, he hits the 3rd base. Immortal has arrived. With help of the Immortal, we can defend. We can force his back, but Blink is done.
Yeah, we're not targeting it, though. Yeah, Blink is done by DNS, so he actually keeps a lot of his Stalkers alive. Nicely done.
Yeah, he trades well overall. He maintains his position, going to be able to reinforce Oracles at the same time to hit the natural base, but we are in position. Krystianer does defend his natural, and for the time being, he's holding on to the 3rd.
And an aggressive Blink forward. Immortal goes down, and we still have plenty of Stalkers where that came from here for DNS.
Yeah, we still have Stalkers left over. No shield battery, no overcharge, and the Blinks, they're going to be good enough. We do have reinforcements on the way for both players. And the last DNS, he's overwhelming the 3rd. Again, he just had such an advantage early on, and that snowballed into our current game state. In a mirror matchup, it can be quite difficult to recover from this. The Immortal is soon to arrive, but is it enough?
Ooh, well, it's very exposed. Stalkers are starting to get bled out, but more reinforcements do arrive. There's no more Guardian Shell to really rely on.
Yeah, no more Guardian Shield, but alas, we're going to be able to hold on. Shield battery is now done. We will have an overcharge available, but again, DNS still has an overwhelming Stalker count. Does come in with more reinforcements. The saving grace here is that it does take quite some time for the reinforcements to arrive at DNS.
Yeah, it wasn't quite able to establish that 4th pylon earlier on, and DNS is taking his time over here, which will allow Krystianer to repower that shield battery, will allow him to actually get a 2nd Oracle out, I believe. There we go, yeah. 2 Immortals.
And we do have those 2 Immortals. We can see DNS trying to bypass the main army, heads for the natural instead, or even heading towards the Immortals. Doesn't quite find what he was looking for, but still threatening this location here of Krystianer. Meanwhile, as that Immortal count gets higher and higher, Krystianer, he is holding on, and hey, he saved the 3rd, right? The 3rd did not go down, and he preserved his probes, for the most part. But
yeah, so has a little bit of catching up to do, but these Adepts are going to make it way easier for him to do so.
Yeah.
I kind of like this from DNS. He recalled his Stalkers back home, which does mean that he loses more probes than necessary, I would argue, but at the same time kind of keeps his zealots hidden for quite a while.
Yeah, but that's 7 probes going down, and suddenly Krystianer, he's evening up the work account. He was behind, and he still is, don't get me wrong, but not as far as he once was. So Krystianer is defending, he's recovering, he's holding his own, and he's looking to make a game out of this.
Yeah. He was behind. He still is, but he was also. So, right?
Yeah, he was.
Yeah.
Still is. But not as much as he once was.
But not
right?
as much, yeah.
Yeah. That's what's
it's the details. It's the math, you know? You can't discount the math.
It is the math.
And numbers.
Now, what's important here is that we are heavily reliant on charge-offs. Now, the Immortals, of course, are the backbone of Krystianer's army. You have charge-offs to help recover, to help supplement the main force as well. But, oh, that's another 3 probes falling. DNS still maintains control of that economic lead.
Yeah, now he's looking to pounce. He has his Archon. He has his armies out. Krystianer also managed to produce an Archon, but I'm not sure one is going to be enough to deal with the Stalkers as well as all of these Zealots.
Exactly. GNS with some heavy reinforcements on the way. He's still setting up, still moving out across the map. But once again, this is going to be a tough hold for Krystianer. Not impossible, but it's going to be difficult here. He will have the advantage of the overcharge. True, like that will play a factor here. But we'll see if it's going to be enough.
Indeed, we shall. Genesel kind of sharking around, looking to threaten. Ideally, he wants to fight out in the open. He wants to try to draw Krystianer out of shield battery range.
Yeah, just drag him out of position regardless. Oracle does dip in, 3 probes falling. At the same time, Krystianer dancing with the main army again, staying within range of that overcharge.
Yeah, and once he notices that overcharge was popped, he immediately backs away. He knows that he can wait it out, and he will still have an advantage, but he cannot fight within range of that shield battery.
Yeah, so he has to wait a little bit longer here, bide his time, more reinforcements on the way, more Archons on the way as well. At the same time, Krystianer throwing down 2 more shield batteries. Again, he's trying to prepare as best he can, and we'll see if he can pull this off as the army does collide in.
That they do. Archons focusing on the Zealots, Immortals focusing on the Zealots as well, actually.
Yeah, and with this, it looks like the Zealots are being cleaned up. Krystianer is barely holding on. The Immortals are doing a lot in the back line. Finally, they're getting within range of the Archons.
Yeah, really starting to chase this all the way back. The Warp Prism in a lot of trouble, and it will go down. More shield batteries were thrown, were placed down throughout that fight. So, even though we did end up kind of wasting an overcharge, we still have plenty of energy remaining here.
Yeah, and we saw that once the dust settled, once the Zealots were cleaned up, it was the Immortals of Krystianer that reigned supreme, and that was a pretty nice hold. Pretty nice hold overall. Still taking losses in between his bases, still down in the economy, and we'll see if he can do that again.
Yeah, all in all, not a bad hold here from Krystianer, but thankfully for DNS, he wasn't just banking on that timing. He was getting a 5th base behind all of this, like you said, so yeah, way earlier on, Krystianer was doing a really good job of evening out the work accounts, but by now, DNS has pretty much exploded beyond that.
Yeah, so DNS is going to be the first to remax, is the thing. Because of the better economy, he can replace his units that much faster. Krystianer has now hit the field. He was spotted by the Observer, so I believe DNS is aware of the army, but now DNS is going to have to take the role of the defender instead.
Yeah, which he is wont to do. You know, now we see the turns table a little bit, and now DNS has battery overcharge, and Krystianer is well aware of that, so he is just trying to find and force DNS into these little pockets and choke points on the map where he can start throwing out his Archon volleys and take a bit of a more efficient trade.
Yeah, but that's 5 Archons for DNS. So Krystianer, he sees the army, he backs up. He's like, I cannot fight that, I cannot engage. He's going to retreat. The pylon does spot the rotation, and it looks like it's all about Krystianer trying to catch DNS out of position. If he can hit a base where DNS is not, of course, then we can knock it down. Alas, the Observer does see everything, and DNS does spot the army movement.
Yeah, that was something I was worried for DNS for quite some time in this game. It took him a while to get a robo facility, and even after he took it, it took him a while to get observers, but now he's just got vision everywhere on the map. It's looking... Krystianer has a very steep hill to climb to overcome this.
Yeah, he does. Likewise, Immortals are now amassing for DNS as well, so that unit that he was lacking earlier is now making up in. The Zelts once again going to be crashing into each other at the same time. Zelts actually get into the middle line. 12 probes go down.
Yeah, really nice damage here from DNS, and of course he has way more Archons, so his splash damage is way higher. GG is called, and DNS gonna be taking game number 1.
GG. The armies, they still were facing down each other, but the economy was crippled and Krystianer was just too far behind. It was impressive though. I was very impressed by how, so with that, DNS was able to maintain himself. I mean, it was important that you pointed out as well, like specifically mirror matchups, right? We talk about this all the time, but having a deficit in a mirror matchup, whether it's a PvP, ZvZ, or TvT, can be so difficult to recover from, and yeah, Krystianer was just never able to pull that off, you know, despite surviving. Goes to show how important it is to take that lead early on.
Yeah, I cannot imagine how it feels in a PvP to be in a position like that. I would feel completely hopeless. Usually in TvT, if I'm behind in the early game, I just start praying that my opponent doesn't realize what orbital commands are.
I thought you were gonna say something like, "You just pull the boys, Pappy. You just, you just send it." True.
Yeah, you got options. Anyway, right hand, go to the map. Right? Yes, right hand, go to the map. We had the blue Protoss player coming out from Poland, representing SLT. It was Krystianer.
And in the top left, we have DNS for Berserker eSports. As we're settling into another PvP, we're loading into Oceanborn. This is Krystianer's map of choice, and once again, we should be seeing 2 gate openers from our 2 players.
Yeah, we just, we don't have that ramp into the natural, so you gotta play it safe. Both of our players, Krystianer and DNS, I mean, we've been able to cast quite a lot of them in these past couple of years, honestly, at this point. Krystianer, a little bit more, I would say, is very active in these online events that we cast, and we know both of them to be rather cautious at times, at least in the early game. If they see an opening, they don't hesitate to pounce on it and go on the offensive, but when no such opening exists, they don't really feel a need to force it.
Exactly. Basically, what you're getting at is that we don't often see, proxies and any kind of crazy cheeses from these 2 players. We could see all-ins, definitely, but only if there's an opportunity to kind of exploit. If there's like a moment there that you can try to take advantage of your opponent. As we say that, DNS is going to be hiding his pylon out on the map, and we'll see if we make use of it here. See what DNS has in store.
Yeah, we've been seeing it. We've been seeing this a couple of times in these past couple of weeks in PvPs. Protoss players now kind of pulling a little bit of a, I don't remember if it was Beyond or if it was U-Thermal who did this first, but basically building their supply depot out in the map to kind of force an overreaction. This time, though, it's not a fake out from DNS. That is, in fact, going to be a real proxy robo.
Let's go. I also assumed that maybe it was just going to be either a fake proxy or a proxy Stargate, but no, it is a robo. What does this mean? This means that DNS is going for the 1 base all in, and it's on Krystianer to figure this out and to defend. He does confirm that the pylon is missing, but you can see that Krystianer, he's looking for that pylon at the moment because it could be a fake out.
Yeah. And you don't want to get faked out.
Yeah.
Fake outed?
Faked out.
You don't want to get outed? Faked? Yeah. You don't want to get got.
Yeah. Don't get got.
Yeah.
As we do see Immortal production beginning here for DNS with that proxy robot. It's going to be Immortals. We can get a Prism behind this as well to reinforce, to juggle our units. Krystianer is going to be doubling down. We have shield batteries in the main base. So far, so good for Krystianer. He's throwing down the shield battery a little bit further back so he can fall back to his Nexus, as he does recognize that we had a lot of Stalkers out on the map.
Yeah, he knows that aggression is coming his way. He also confirms the lack of natural base here for DNS. So once again, not 100% sure of what's coming his way specifically, but he is taking precaution.
Yeah, for all he knows, it could be Blink. It could be like 4 gates, 1 base, Blink all in or something like that. So that's why Krystianer is just falling back or setting up a little bit further back in his main base. And the Stalkers have been revealed for the time being, but at least Krystianer is aware of the aggression and he responds with his own defensive Immortal production.
Yeah, I think Krystianer has realized that with this amount of gateway units out on the map, it cannot be a starport at this point.
Oh yeah, he is fully aware. The other cheeky thing here is that Krystianer did go Prism first, and I believe he has a Warp Prism on the left-hand side. So his goal in the middle of this all-in is to try to warp in Adepts across the map and try to deal some critical economic damage. It's a bold move here by Krystianer. This is, of course, units that he won't have at home to defend. He won't have the micro potential either, but he's going for the probes.
He is going for the probes, and he's starting to get some damage done. Forces a couple of warp-ins back at home as well here from DNS.
At the same time, DNS pushing up the ramp. He has his own Warp Prism as well, but of course for high ground vision and to juggle back his main army. Probes are still falling, by the way, but so is that Gateway. The Gateway taking a lot of damage.
Yeah, DNS, if he wasn't all in before, he absolutely is now, and all he has is pretty much all he's got. He only has one Immortal versus a 2 here from Krystianer, but he also has a Warp Prism, great force fields, gonna be able to take out that Stalker, and we're down to one Gateway here for Krystianer, so yeah, the production is very much in shambles right now.
Yeah, he has a backup Gateway on the way. Krystianer's going for a Stargate as well for, I imagine, Void Ray productions, but it takes time. It takes time to really get into that. The production is delayed for Krystianer. Pushing up this ramp is going to be difficult, though, and alas, we do hold the line. We do hold on to the ramp.
Yeah, you can't really push up this ramp when you don't have Blink, when your opponent has force field potential, a lot of force field potential, and most importantly, 3 Immortals as a backbone.
Krystianer, he's up 6 probes compared to his opponent. As I say that, we do have a drop in towards that or behind the main mineral line. Likewise, Adept's going to be shading in as well. It looks like DNS's goal here is to try to pull Krystianer apart and get damage done, and so far he does. Oh, commit to the shade.
Yeah, able to take out a couple of probes to strike the army a little bit, but I think DNS knows that he doesn't quite have enough units to commit up this ramp. His best bet is to try to force Krystianer down.
Yeah, that was a brutal supply block for Krystianer. The Stargate is done. A Phoenix now on the way as we break free from the supply block, and Phoenixes would be a secure way to shut this down, to be able to CC and crowd control that Immortal to shut down the Prism. The Phoenix is confirmed by DNS. He did just spot it morphing in, and that'll be a sign here to back off a little bit more as with the Adepts, they continue to harass across the map.
Yeah, really good micro coming out here from Krystianer. Forces the recall from DNS. Everything's come home, so yeah, DNS has to make do with what damage he's dealt, which isn't that much, if I'm being honest. I mean, he took down a lot of buildings, but he's still down when it comes to the worker count. He's actually slower to expand as well. So when it's all said and done, I want to give the advantage to Krystianer here.
100%. Krystianer, he holds, he defends, he forces the recall, he's ahead in workers, he's ahead in bases. But now he's kind of dragged himself out, right? Now he's a little bit more vulnerable. If DNS does double down for an all-in, Krystianer, it's not going to be the easiest of holds, but he's building up Phoenixes. The Phoenix count is building up here to help shut down any immortal pushes. It's going to be that much more difficult here for DNS.
Yeah, Phoenixes are going to be absolutely key right now for DNS, or for Krystianer. DNS did grab that Stargate, and he has a Phoenix of his own, but is halting Stargate production.
It does have those Phoenixes. As you mentioned, DNS has not been able to catch up, or it would be an uphill battle here if he tried to, just because he's down overall in production, and it's hard to catch up without a second Stargate. And if you do that, then if your opponent commits into a ground army, then you're left exposed as well. So DNS is in a rough position. Hallucination Scout going to be coming in, does confirm the one Phoenix at least, and likewise even camping the robot, we have found it.
Like so. Mortal's going to be picked up and dropped to try to deal with that. DNS going to be the first player to tech up, grabbing that Twilight Council.
Yeah, Twilight Council's on the way, Forge is on the way, DNS is working towards +1 and Blink, but before we can really embrace that, it looks like Krystianer wants to move out. He wants to hit first, he wants to hit hard, before we can even talk about the mid-game.
Yeah, he wants to at least take out this proxy, but looking at the army counts right now, I think Krystianer might even have enough momentum behind him to try to apply some pressure on that natural.
Yeah, we'll see if he does commit. For now, just snipes the Robo, going for his own Twilight Council, taking extra gases. So Krystianer, he's working towards his own upgrades, towards his own mid-game. It looks like he won't be moving out, and yeah, we're going to be settling in.
Yeah. We had a little bit more of a chaotic start to this game, but all EU PvPs lead to macro.
True. As yeah, we're just taking the third. We're just taking that lead and extending it here. I would still say that Krystianer has the edge over his opponent. I say the edge just because upgrades are faster for DNS, so he will have a timing where he has +1 over his opponent and charge over his opponent. But Krystianer's taking this slow and steady, prioritizing Archon production.
Yeah, which again is probably the right call here to make. One really good way to counter all these Phoenixes is to just prioritize Zealots, which I'm sure Krystianer is aware of, so he's kind of preempting the counter, if you will, grabbing Archons. You have Zealots that are meant to ignore these Phoenixes and just deal damage on the ground.
Exactly. The Phoenixes, they haven't paid for themselves yet, but as we say that, we go for the mineral lines. Probes are now going down. We force a recall into the main, and the Phoenixes, they should be able to escape.
Like so. I'm catching a couple of Phoenixes of DNS. Okay, not quite gonna be able to do that, but still, nice little bits of damage done here. Krystianer far ahead when it comes to the worker count.
Yeah, he is looking quite comfortable here. Again, just settling into his Archons. Because of that, the charge timing doesn't really matter too much because Archons do trump charge lots, so we can just settle on down. Phoenix is looking for more damage, forcing the activation of the Guardian Shields, and even picking up a stray probe here or there.
Yeah, Krystianer now 10 workers ahead. Bit of a complete reversal of what we saw in our previous game. Good use of feedback still coming out here from DNS. Gonna be able to really stunt a lot of these Phoenixes in their tracks.
Exactly. 5 probes go down in this flyby. We recall back home. We save all the Phoenixes. And Krystianer, he has his lead, and he's extending that lead as well. The game is looking that much more bleaker for DNS. We spoke about this previously, but alas, if you're behind in a PvP, if you're behind in a mirror matchup like this, you need something crazy to bounce back. There are options. You can go into DTs, you can rush into Disruptors, you can rely on harassment, right? Whether it's Adept Harass or Zealot Run-bys or Zealot Drops. Like, there are ways, but they're few and far between, and they're not the easiest to get into.
Yeah, more Phoenix is going to be dipping in and harassing, taking out even more probes here from DNS. I was not aware that there were options when you're behind the PvP. Like, I've always followed the mantra, when behind Dark Shrine.
True.
I didn't realize you could do. I didn't realize there were more things that you could do.
You're like, I don't just have to Dark Shrine? Papi, you're crazy. True. For now, we can see 10 more workers going down. Krystianer is still maintaining that economic superiority. And, yeah, even taking a 4th base as well, just getting further and further ahead.
Yeah, and as this game just continues, which Krystianer wants it to, he is want to just keep this game going on so that he can extend his lead, get more production, and really start to outscale DNS. He's already outscaled DNS a ton when it comes to the supply. It's behind a little bit when it comes to upgrades, but when you're this ahead when it comes to your actual bodies on the map, upgrades are kind of negligible.
Oh, they are negligible here, and it's gonna be a rough fight, a rough upcoming battle for DNS. He's basically gonna be forced all in. I don't see him taking a longer macro game in this situation. It's possible, but again, it's looking bleaker and bleaker in a longer game just because they're still bleeding out even more probes.
Yeah, at this point, he's gotta pull the boys.
He's not a Terran Yako. He's the, it doesn't work quite like that.
There's the problem.
I see.
That's his problem.
You're like, man, you just lost 20 probes. Just mule, Papi. Just mule.
Yeah.
True. Why doesn't he?
Exactly.
God.
Why doesn't he just mule?
As Krystianer, he's on the cusp of maxing out. Like, he has a massive army supply here, moving out with 6 Archons, 4 Immortals, a massive wave of Zealots. We have another Archon on the way as well. Overcharge is good, but is it that good?
We shall see. He used Overcharge earlier, didn't he? So I don't think he actually has it available right now. We see a couple of feedbacks being thrown down on these Phoenixes, but that's not going to be enough. GG is called. Krystianer able to tie up our series 1-1.
GG.
Neither team has the advantage.
GG, well played. We do tie things up 1-1 here. As you mentioned, no clear lead here. But what's important is that, hey, the two ace players, they just faced off against each other. They went blow for blow, goes to show how comparable in skill they are. And I'm sure we might see something similar here in the next coming rounds as well. Again, I still had a hard time picking between them, but up next is Wayne versus BattleB.
Here we go. Yeah, that's another match that's very, very difficult to predict. I think I ended up giving it the 1-1 just because I do feel like both of these players are pretty neck and neck, but I do think that I want to give the slight edge to Wayne just because he has been a bit more consistent in these matches. BattleB has shown some true brilliance in a lot of his matches. Some very, very high clutch potential, but that is kind of, I don't want to say few and far between, but it is just a little bit more inconsistent compared to Wayne.
Yeah, I think I specifically remember going over these this series in the predictions, and I had everything 1-1, and then I looked back on it, I was like, I can't just go 1-1 for everything. I was like, I have to commit to a 2-0 somewhere, and I'm pretty sure because that I did go 2-0 in favor of Wayne, I think, for my predictions. But that was after I had everything 1-1. Like I had a really hard time like kind of picking where I wanted to go with this one.
I didn't.
Yeah, I know what you went. I didn't even see your predictions, but I know what you went for. Yaku.
Here we go. Players are ready, so we're not coming back in, looking at our elos.
Now, our players are just preparing themselves. For those that are curious, predictions in the chat are currently open, or I think they're about to close soon, even. But yeah, predictions will soon be open in the chat. Meanwhile, the predictions that we are referring to are in our Discord server. We do maintain and we do keep track of rankings for predictions in our Discord for WTL week after week after week. So if you're curious, if you want to take part, join our Discord server to take part in the game.
! Discord in the chat. We're having special awards this season.
Are we?
For different types of predictions.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, we are. It's happening. You know, I'm just looking over here and appreciating Wayne's technique coming out. First off, he's got that iPhone webcam going down. Second off, he's got that circle with the mouse question mark. Here we go. It's the top right hand corner of the map. We have our blue Zerg player. He's going to be representing SLT. It's Wayne.
And in the bottom left hand corner, we have a Berserker eSports. It is BattleB.
Yeah, just moving that mouse in a circle. Usually, I've been told that players to warm up, they do like 1A, 2A, 3A, 4A, and they focus on the keyboard. Wayne says, no. So it's not about the taka-taka. It's more about the tika-taka.
Excuse me? The TikTok?
It's not about the taka-taka. It's more about the ta-ta-ta-ta.
Okay.
Rat-ta-ta-ta.
There you go. Oh, that's where Ratata came from. True. Makes sense. Yeah. Also,
it's about the clickety clackety. There we go.
I could be mistaken, but I'm looking at BattleB's webcam. Does it look like his headset's like falling apart a little bit?
You just noticed that? That's been a thing with BattleB for weeks.
For weeks? Then that means it's getting worse because now it's even more noticeable.
Is it getting worse? It's leaning now.
That's what I mean. Yeah, look at it. Like
it's not just like half off. It's leaning to one side.
Exactly. That's what I mean. Like it's a lot more noticeable here.
Yeah. Or rather, yeah, BattleB for a couple of weeks, he's had like one of his headphone cups at a weird angle, which I assume is because it broke, but now it's also like looks like it's actually falling as well as angling.
Yeah, BattleB is fighting for his team, is also fighting for a new headset right now. Let's go. As it is kind of falling apart a little bit. Or maybe he just likes it. You know, sometimes how you have like one cup on and one cup off, just so you can like hear things around you, like in case like someone's gonna, like you're waiting for like a delivery.
Like Uber.
Oh, yeah. What?
In case there's a break-in, yeah.
Yaku going full ghetto on us, like, mate, just in case, someone's gonna try to bust through a window or break in through the back door. Like, you gotta be on point, Papi. You gotta be on point.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Hashtag life in Yishun.
True.
Yishun life.
Hashtag raised in Yishun. As we are settling into our ZVT, again, no clear lead for either team. We're tied up 1-1. Reaper's going to be dipping in towards the natural base, and ooh, almost does get the drone.
Yeah, it doesn't quite in the end, though. Wayne very quick with that clutch build. Morph. There we go. With that clutch morph.
Does go for that Spore trick, does save the worker. Behind this, we have our build of choice. BattleB going for a third CC before Starport, so pretty standard economic build so far out of BattleB. I do imagine he's going to be mixing things up throughout the course of the series. As, oh, that is not a Starport, that is a second Rax.
Okay, 2-on-1, having been a lot more popular in these past couple of weeks. We've seen a lot of variants with the 2-on-1 build. Oliveira has a couple of different styles. One of them is just straight up. Wait, I'm trying to. I made a mistake here, Light. I'm relying on my memory for details. But yeah, we're seeing a lot more variants on different types of 2-on-1 nowadays. There's a Cyclone 2-on-1. There's a 2 Hellion, 1 Reaper 2-on-1 into just straight. Not quite a drop, but a whatchamacallit, just a very quick +1 timing.
Yeah, was it Oliveira that went for a 3CC 2-on-1 where he skipped Hellions? There was a
I know Oliveira has been experimenting a lot with different types of 2-on-1, so I'm gonna say yes, it was him.
You're like, I didn't remember, but yes, he did. Fair enough. But I do remember a Terran player the past week, maybe the past 2 weeks, that did go for that as well. So yeah, it's an interesting variation here. For those that are curious, basically we're kind of cutting Hellion production earlier on. We should be getting 2 or maybe even 4 Hellions for map control, and then just rushing into Marine production to work towards a stim timing with Medivacs. That's going to be a bit of a powerful push that's on the horizon here for BattleB. Until then, he's only got those 4 Hellions and he's diving into the natural. Oh my god.
Yeah, not quite able to completely roast up these mineral lines. That's a little bit of damage done here, but he does also give up all of his map control.
Yeah, he gets 3 drones, which is okay, but we wanted more than that. It's like 3 drones for 4 Hellions is not a worthwhile trade for BattleB. He was hoping for more damage, and this means that Wayne can be a little bit more free when it comes to droning up, as 1 more drone does fall towards the end, but still not the best trade for BattleB, and Wayne can be that much more greedy now in the backline.
Yeah, there's nothing he really has to wait for. There's nothing that he really needs to worry about right now. BattleB is working on his stim, is working on his medevacs, but that's still a little bit of a ways off. So yeah, there's this little window of maybe 1 larva cycle where he can just drone up and not have to worry about anything else.
Yeah, when it comes to the response, when it comes to the defense, Wayne did throw down that Roach Warren, so it looks like he's going to be embracing Roach Ravager. It is a very safe way to play. It does give you, of course, the potential to trade a little bit more better, larva-wise at least, and you have your Biles as well once we morph in the Ravagers, but until then, we have to rely on Queens. The Roaches are not quite ready.
Yeah, they are vanilla Roaches, so it'll take a little while to get between the bases. Wayne heavily reliant on these Queens to be in position, but they're not!
Yeah, we double drop into the natural. 3 drones going down so far. Now we can focus on even more workers. Roach is having a hard time keeping up here. 4 drones go down. That's the other downside of this army composition for Wayne, is that Roaches are that much more immobile compared to Ling Bane.
Yeah, and we can see it really paying off here for BattleB, or rather BattleB really taking full advantage of it. Starting to lose a couple of his Marines, but I think he has been able to have a bit of a worthwhile drop with his opening, and I mean, he's at the very least avenged those Hellions.
Yeah, I mean, Marines are expendable, right? Especially when you have additional Raxes to help, provide for that and help replace that. So 8 drone kills, pretty good damage here by BattleB. Wayne now has to recover. Wayne is not droning. Wayne is not droning up, Poppy. We're making more Roach Ravager.
Yeah, and we have to keep track of the production tabs here. BattleB has caught on. I think he has, as he's throwing down a bunker, and oh no, this tank!
Oh, the tank for now is actually stuck, and that is going to be important here when it comes to defending against the Roach Ravager push. Wayne sending everything across the map through the zone Naga. BattleB, he is somewhat aware. He's preparing back at home. We have a handful of bunkers ready, but is it going to be enough here? As we have some tanks as well in the back line.
Yeah, getting prepared for this. So we have seen this just this week, actually. I don't remember who the players were. I want to say Dark and maybe Oliveira were playing on this map specifically, and Oliveira had a very strong defensive line on one of his openings, but unfortunately neglected the other one a bit too much, which Dark was able to take advantage of, and it looks like Wayne has the exact same idea.
Yeah, it was ESL Asia. It was Oliveira versus Rogue. Remember, we were casting some Rogue. Yeah. Casting Rogue during ESL Asia.
Dark. These are players.
Yeah, they're all the same
they're
to
all
me.
The same.
That's the Yaku. As a couple of demons going to be falling initially, we have 3 tanks behind this army. The army does stim on forward. So far, we do push on forward, and can we get within range of those tanks? Can we buy them down?
Looks like we're trying to, but not quite. One of them does get battled down. Ooh, the other Bile's just barely missing the tanks. They will land on a lot of the army, but like you mentioned, Marines are very much expendable at this point. Wayne has kept most of his tanks alive. He's kept a lot of his Marauders alive as well. So when it's all said and done, this was a much better trade for BattleB.
Yeah, BattleB, he holds the line. He has a worker lead. He maintains at 4 CC on the way. And now Wayne is droning, and now it might just be too late. Like, we're just so far behind, and we're so vulnerable as well, as we barely have a standing army.
Yeah. Good use of the Biles, taking out a couple of units here and there. Wayne is really just buying himself time with this army out on the map right now.
Exactly.
And that he very desperately needs.
Yeah, he needs to keep BattleB busy. If BattleB ever moves out, then Wayne is going to be in trouble right now. He did drone up to 3-way saturation. He droned up to 62. That is a better economy. And it looks like Wayne might be... Never mind. I was going to say might be going for a 2-way, for a secondary all-in with 2-2. But we start up Infestors. That's a hive on the way. Wayne wants to try to make a game out of this and try to macro out.
And we'll see if it pays off for him. As for now, BattleB as well is being a little bit passive. He's grabbing that 4th base, and by the looks of things, he hasn't quite embraced the saving light of the 8 racks. So he is going to be taking it a little slower and is giving Wayne a little bit more time.
I mean, the creep is looking good, right? The creep is quite impressive. Yeah. That is going to give Wayne a bit of a safety net here to buy time, of course, before the army moves out. On top of that, because the Infestors, even though Wayne is going to be down in army supply, this is inflated army supply as well with the Red Ravager, so he's even further behind. But with Fungals, we can take fights.
Yeah. Nail a couple of fungal biles,
hey.
Or bungles as I call them. Yeah, just bungle your opponent.
There you go. Yeah, that's what they say. Yeah. But yeah, with those fungals, we can try to shut down the bio army. We do have a decent chain of fungals here, but not much of a follow-up, as Wayne is going to be chased down, and Fest is going to be targeted as well.
Yeah, the thing is, that was a decent fungal chain, but we also had a lot of tanks in the back line.
Yeah.
Shelling away at his main army, and I just saw a massive chunk of roaches evaporate before my eyes.
And BattleB is maxed out. He's maxed out. There's no reason. There's nothing holding him back. He can move out across the map, and Wayne, he's in trouble. He's in a lot of trouble. Again, his all-in failed, and likewise, the Infestor fungals were less than ideal as well.
Yeah, I mean, he managed to land those fungals, but unfortunately landing them in a unfortunate position where BattleB was already set up.
He was set up, and we're going to be able to kite it well from the side of Wayne. Picks off some Marines, forces the army back, but the tanks are slowly encroaching upon the main army. A very nice fungal once again on the bio, and we're getting on top of the first tank.
Yeah, the bio is starting to fall, and without a bio buffer, these tanks are looking very exposed. A couple of good shots and volleys from the tank fire, but they will end up getting cleaned up in the end.
Yeah, we barely cleaned up the first wave of tanks, but here come the reinforcements for BattleB. We have some Infestors left over. We need some of those fungals. Hydras are amassing. The bio does push on forward. Nice fungal here on the bio, but so many tanks are sieged up behind this.
Yeah, there's really no easy way for Wayne to really push into this position. His fungals are looking really good, but he just doesn't really have enough of a follow-up to really take advantage of them.
It really doesn't. That's 4 tanks behind this. Liberators as well. They're going to be biled down. They're going to be targeted. So not a bad initial engagement here out of Wayne, but breaking this tank line, it just costs so much supply.
That it does. That it does. On paper, this was probably... On paper, you might look at that and think that it's a better trade here for Wayne, but Wayne is really bleeding out the last of his resources to to defend against all of this, BattleB can lose his tanks, he can lose his bio, and still have way more reinforcements in the backline ready to move out. He just has that much production and that much income.
Yeah, Wayne, he's fighting for his life. Meanwhile, BattleB, this is just another trade. You know, this is just another fight for him. Like, there's no pressure on BattleB. Does avoid the fumble this time. The tank is going to be piled down. Barely survives the pile as it barely does stand strong. And yeah, Wayne is just being forced further and further back. Lurker Den, I believe, just finished up, but we don't have time for really lurkers. We have the one lurker behind this.
Let's go. One lurker and a dream.
Let's go.
More lurkers starting to get morphed in. They are vanilla lurkers, which is very worrisome, though. And BattleB may have lost his liberators earlier on, but without range upgrade, tanks have a huge range advantage. GG is called BattleB. They've been taking game number 1.
GG, well played. BattleB does take the first game here. Does take a lead for his team for Berserker eSports. And unfortunately for Wayne, that all-in did kind of fall on its face there. Wayne, he lost 8 workers, and he embraced that worker loss. He was like, you know what, I'm going to just double down on Roach Ravager. I'm going to just double down and flood across the map. But BattleB was a solid wall there. He did his best Showtime impression, and BattleB could not be broken.
That he could not. Very, very efficient trade there for very, very tight defense there. For BattleB, barely losing anything other than Marines.
Oh yeah,
and he goes for the power of tanks when it comes to fighting against roaches like this.
It's also very important here that at least BattleB was able to recognize what was going on, right? He was able to throw down additional bunkers to protect those tanks, the depots as well. Like, it all just bought time for himself, for the defense, and with that, the pressure is now on Wayne. I want to believe that he can bounce back, and Wayne's map of choice is Post-Youth.
Okay. I'm liking this a lot. So usually when we see the second map pick, about 60-70% of the time it's Oceanborn. And then the other 20% of the time it's Alcyone or one of the other more standard maps. But Wayne coming out here and says, I want to play on a map that is very consistently vetoed.
It is, and for good reason. There's a lot of gold. There's a lot of gold minerals. There's a lot of gold bases here on a Post-Youth that will help Wayne, especially if he wants to take advantage of that and maybe go for an all-in or just have that influx in resources, in minerals. Likewise, it can also work in favor for BattleB, but BattleB, the Terran player taking the gold base, is going to be a little bit more difficult for him to really accomplish. So yeah, I'm curious to see how Wayne approaches this. I'm curious if he goes for another all-in. That's what I'm keeping my eye out for.
Yeah, as am I. Post-Youth is a hybrid map, right? The hybrid natural.
Yeah.
I get them mixed up quite a lot with the other one where you have a gold base, but it's a pocket base.
Yes, exactly.
It's not Amphion, it's not Crimson
Dynasty.
Court, it's Dynasty.
Yeah, Post-Youth.
That's why I keep forgetting the name.
You're like, man,
Most basic name out here. Yeah, we got names like Crimson Court, we got Post-Youth, we got Amphion, and then we have Dynasty.
Yeah, they couldn't come up with another word to like pair with it. What's going on?
Yeah, that's the major man. Anyway, in the bottom left-hand corner of the map, we have our blue zone player coming out and playing for Starlight Twinkle. It's Wayne.
And in the top right, we have a Berserker eSports BattleB.
I'm thinking. That's a secret for BattleB, right? It's with the headphone or one of his headphone cups half off, it heightens his senses. It gives him a spidey sense for all ins.
Exactly. You know, he's going to be that much more aware, that much more in sync.
Yeah. 8-0. But no, wait, that's Backstreet.
That's the other one. You're like, Backstreet's back. Oh wait, no, that's not in sync. No. Maybe that was before your time. I don't think you were even born when they were like releasing songs.
No, I think my birth coincided with Napster.
Okay. There you go.
So that was an omen of my birth.
I see. You kind of sparked that kind of era of the internet.
Yeah.
It's your fault.
I ruined it for everyone.
But we're settling it. We're settling into Post-Youth. As you mentioned, we have this kind of... It's not quite a pocket base because it's not like hidden like in the back line or anything like that. It's you have a just straight up natural in your main. You have a second base in your main base, even, if you will. It's also a hybrid base. It's just a wild thought and a wild feature on this map. And
this is why Post-Youth is the only map that I veto. Because it messes with my brain. Where usually I'm in a map and I'm like, okay, go to the low ground, start walling off. But then the low ground on Post-Youth, there are 2 openings to wall off, and I'm like, but how do I wall? How do I wall? There's 2. How do I get 2 walls?
Your brain just melts, just looking at the map and trying to expand. It just doesn't work. Doesn't compute. I understand. Yeah, it is a very unique map. It does call for some more unique games as well. As you mentioned before, it is often vetoed, and we'll see how we approach this. Wayne is going to be taking his 3rd base. Likewise, BattleB going for a 3rd CC before Starport as well.
Yeah. So not quite. Well, I say not quite going to be the 2-on-1, but that's still to be determined. I say that as the 2nd rack set sorted down. So going to be another 2-1 coming out here from BattleB. Very economic 2-1-1 with the 3rd CC as well. Looking to repeat his previous game success.
Exactly. So the same build 2 games in a row out of BattleB, going for a 3cc 2-on-1. Just like the previous game, going to be reliant on only a few Hellions, just 4 Hellions initially, I imagine, or maybe even less than that, just for map control before working towards his bioproduction. The dive potential is going to be a little bit less on this map, just because of the ramp leading into the natural in the main. So I don't really see BattleB being as aggressive this time.
Well, maybe you Zerg players have a difficulty diving, but as a Terran player who has mules, I have no such weakness.
Okay, just send it, Papi, send it. Meanwhile, that's
a mule.
That's a sub 4-minute lair timing, by the way. That's a very early lair, very early Roach Warren as well from the side of Wayne. I'm curious what the plan is going to be here. I'm curious how we embrace this lair tech.
I'm thinking tunneling claws.
I mean, we already have our first wave of roaches on the way initially. That's just going to be to defend. I'm curious if we try to work towards, I don't know, something crazy like Swarm Host, for example, or just rush into an all-in and just rush into roach production. We'll keep our eye on Wayne as the lair is finishing up, and we'll see what is done with it.
Yeah, well, keeping our eyes peeled. He is getting +1 Carapace, which is a little bit of a rarity nowadays to see with roaches. Typically when we see +1 Carapace this early on, my brain immediately goes to, it's a Bane Bust or it's Ling Bane in general.
I agree. It is an interesting upgrade here. Overseer dives into the main, does confirm the bioproduction of BattleB. Now, Carapace can help when it comes to Ling reinforcements, so this could just be another all-in from Wayne. I say that, but no, we're taking the gold.
Yeah. But we're not actually going to drone the gold. No, what I mean by that is we're not going to produce drones for the gold. We're just going to transfer workers from the natural.
Yeah,
potentially.
We may just cut workers.
Yeah, that is something that I've seen every now and then.
Yeah, it looks like that's the case. As you can see on the production tab, we're not droning. We're not droning whatsoever. We're making nothing but roaches for the time being, and we're going to make use of this gold base, I'm sure, momentarily. As I say that, the double drop is making its way in.
Yeah, really good creep spread once again here from Wayne is acting as a little bit of a safety net, a little bit of watchtower as well. Drones starting to go down here in the natural base. BattleB will confirm the gold base being taken, and he will also double drop right into the main / natural, the hybrid base.
Yeah, and Wayne is taking a little damage. 8 drones going to be going down again. Deja vu from the previous game. Another 8 workers. The Hellions, they still stand strong. They're going back in for another dive into the third.
Like so, once again, only a single. Okay, we have 2 queens here to defend, but I have a feeling that's not going to be enough.
Yeah. Wayne, he's all in. He hasn't made a drone in quite some time. He got workers at 55. He's lost workers and he hasn't replaced them, bleeding out even more drones. This will weaken the all-in, by the way. This tells me that his reinforcements are going to be that much less, which is a terrifying thought. Meanwhile, BattleB has he pieced this all together as Roach is already across the map, but they're being shot down.
Like so, power to text. He's pulling the boys! Oh no, he's pulling the boys to gold.
Calm down, Yaku. Calm down. He's not a Terran, Pap. He's not a Terran.
Well, see, there's his problem.
I see the need, just the urge inside you. Is like, Papi, I just want someone to pull the boys. That's all I want here tonight.
My boys haven't been pulled in so long.
I understand, Yaku. I understand. As you mentioned, he's mainoting over towards the gold to prioritize, of course, that income. And again, Wayne has not droned in minutes. Just to put things into context, Wayne is completely all in once again.
Yeah, that really does underline how all in Wayne is being right now, isn't it? Because it's one thing to think, oh yeah, Berserk player's not droning, and it's like he hasn't made a single drone in more than 60 seconds. That is very committed, to say the least.
Yeah, exactly. It's all or nothing here for Wayne. He's moving out across the map. We salvage the bunkers, the tanks on siege. BattleB is moving out, and I don't think he recognizes, of course, that his opponent hasn't been droning in quite some time. I don't think he's realized he's pushing into an all-in.
Yeah, this is very worrisome. The one path to victory that Wayne has here is Sakachi's tanks on siege. 1d6 looking very exposed as well. Wayne, is he gonna pounce? He does. Jump right on top of these tanks, immediately bios down one of them. Second one going down pretty quickly as well. There's a lot of bio, but all of the tanks fall.
Yeah.
And bio is not going to be enough here for BattleB.
Yeah, BattleB, he was caught off guard. He was caught out of position, caught mid-siege as it was moving out across the map. And with that, there's nothing in the back line. The bunkers were salvaged. The tanks fall, or the tanks did fall. The 4th CC gets denied.
Right, so Concave is looking pretty good here for BattleB. Tank is in the back line, so looks like he will eventually clean this up.
Yeah, Wayne, he does fight within tank range, and that's like 3-4 volleys going off. So Wayne bleeding out a lot there against that one tank on the high ground. That was such a value tank for BattleB. And Wayne was a little bit careless in that assault, but he's still reinforcing, and Wayne still has refused to drone.
Indeed, he has. That was a pretty good, I would say a pretty good trait here for Wayne, but he needed to get more damage done. He did not touch the mineral line or the economy of BattleB at all, and he cannot just take a step back and start droning up, because if he does that, then BattleB is going to just push in and turn the tables immediately, start to catch Wayne in the middle of his siege.
Yeah, and you can see that's soon about to happen. Liberator's going to be harassing across the map. One of them, oh, the vials, they miss! Oh, that's unfortunate. The vials didn't quite connect. Drones are going down. 2-2 about to finish up for BattleB as well. He's soon to hit the field and soon to get out of control here. Again, he has had the better economy, but he doesn't have his anything back at him to defend. The tanks!
Yeah, looking very exposed. It will get taken out, but now the army of Wayne is boxed in. And that's a lot of stimmed bio with some Liberator support.
Wow, and we shut down the Roaches. We only got 4 SCVs. Meanwhile, 9 drones went down to the Liberators. 4 CC soon to be taken, and BattleB is running away with this. Wayne, he just didn't do enough, and now he's droning.
Yeah, he is droning, but this feels like too little too late, as BattleB, he has 2-2. He has a very potent force out on the map. He's starting to set up his gold base, which is going to get him even further ahead here from BattleB against Wayne. That was the one advantage Wayne had in this game, is the fact that he was mining on gold a lot quicker. And now it's about to get mitigated.
Exactly. We'll see if the Planetary will finish. Planetary soon to be on the way. Meanwhile, we have Viper production commencing behind this. Wayne cannot touch the CC. We are in position. The Roach Ravager army cannot contest the 2-2 bio. We do have to pull back. Biles just buying some time here. Infestors, Viper, Spellcasters are on the way. Wayne, but he needs more time.
He needs a lot more time, and he's out looking for it. Distracting this army of BattleB and just trying to keep him home for as long as possible. Being very, very careful with his army as well. Doesn't want to overstep his bounds and get counterattacked.
It's just damned if you do and damned if you don't for Wayne, because he needs time to get his spellcasters and gather energy, but at the same time, the goal base is now kicking in for BattleB. Right now, he's getting further and further ahead with that economy, and Wayne
and he's
thinks
got mules.
He does have mules. It's crazy.
Yeah, pretty good. I don't see why other races don't just mule.
True.
It's pretty good.
As we do land a decent fungal on some of these Marauders, Biles as well will connect, so not a bad start. Vipers are amassing, second Infestor has arrived, and Wayne is going to be able to hold the line for the time being. If we can land some good Blinding Clouds, we could try to break this position.
Yeah, we shall see. We need to get good Blinding Clouds. We need to fungal the bio. We need to land our Biles. A little bit of a tricky combination here for Wayne, but if he's able to pull it off, he can completely shut this down.
Yeah, he yoinks one of the tanks, gets a power bomb, which does an okay amount of damage, but a nice split here out of BattleB. Does avoid that power bomb. Biles, once again, they break down a medevac.
And medevac and a couple of Marauders, not too bad.
Not a bad pickoff here for Wayne. He's still holding his own. 3-3s on the horizon for BattleB. Ghost production commencing as well, so the quality of his army is just getting better and better. Ooh, that's massive tank fall. He's going to be going off the Biles. They chase down one Liberator, but that was still a lot of roaches falling.
Yeah. Mr. Turrets go down as well, so a little bit easier for these Vipers to dive in, but even still, not the most worthwhile trade here for Wayne. Massive drop coming into the main base here of Wayne. A lot of overstimmed bio here, starting to get shut down by the roaches.
Yeah, we are in position. Medevac goes down. Hydras have arrived. They shut down a second Medevac.
And all of a sudden, Wayne is starting to punch back.
Yeah,
Wayne is starting to force some bleeding out from BattleB here.
He's just pulling himself back into this here. The economy is still not ideal for Wayne. He's on a 3-base economy. He's taking another hatchery, still massing up more lings, more roaches, more hydras as well. Oh, and that's another planetary and more CCs on the way. BattleB, he's looking so secure here.
Yeah, Wayne has been doing a pretty good job of defending against the drops of BattleB, but with the defensive setup that our Red Terran has, there's absolutely no way that Wayne can push into this either, which might be fine. I say might be fine because Wayne, obviously, he does have the map control, but BattleB is on 5 bases. One of those 5 bases is a gold base as well, so I do still think that Wayne has to deal a little bit more damage.
Yeah, we're in a really interesting position here. As you mentioned, Wayne was unsuccessful when it comes to denying the 4th, and he wasn't able to deny the 5th, right? He just hasn't been able to stop the expansions of BattleB, which is terrifying. And now BattleB has a wall of planetaries, sensor towers, and tanks, and Liberators as well. Like, he is looking so secure here back at home. But that does mean that Wayne is maxed out. Like, both players are maxing out. Wayne has a lower drone count, and his army supply is inflated with all these roaches. So Wayne doesn't have the best army, but he has potential if BattleB pushes into him.
And that's going to be a very big if, as Wayne now pushing into BattleB, not quite with his full army in position, so no blinding clouds, no yoinks to really take advantage of. I do like the setup here with all of these lurkers. Great fungals on top of the bio. Lurkers got a couple of volleys in. The ghost got fungal.
Not a bad fungal. We shut down a good chunk of bio there. It does cost Wayne a lot of his ground army, but I do think he wants to get rid of these roaches. He wants to get rid of the roaches and try to refine his army. Still has too many roaches left over, but over time I'm sure he will replace them.
Yeah. Perhaps with a Nidus.
Okay, Nidus into the main base. Turret's unable to deny that, but Liberators are repositioning. It looks like BattleB should shut it down, and we don't quite make it into the main.
Yeah, Lurkers just getting shot down before they can really do much of anything.
Yeah.
Very unfortunate timing here for for Wayne. Very good timing for BattleB.
Yeah, Wayne committed despite the Liberation Zone's freedom is here, and yeah, we do liberate those lurkers. We have a backup Nidus further back in the main base, but I believe BattleB has caught wind of it as well.
Yeah, he's got missile turrets everywhere around his main, not just to deny the Overseer, but also for detection in case some of these lurkers do manage to burrow. So, yeah, once again, BattleB just creating an impenetrable armor for himself.
Yeah, exactly. Does bleed out a tank, which is a nice pickup here for Wayne, but not the biggest, of course, as BattleB is now rotating towards the left-hand side, clearing up a lot of creep. And we'll see how this looks when he does decide to break out. I mentioned before that the ideal situation for Wayne is for the Terran army to push onto creep.
Yeah, a position where Wayne can really come in from every single angle, land a couple of biles, get his fungals and lurker volleys off.
As you can see, Wayne just trying to find an opening here, just trying to find a chink in the armor of BattleB. For now, ooh, we do see 2 lurkers being sniped. Creep is slowly receding towards the left-hand side as BattleB is going to expand and take another base.
Like so. As you mentioned, the ideal situation here for Wayne is to have BattleB push into him, but there's nothing really pressuring BattleB to push deep into creep just yet, so instead we're seeing Wayne poke and prod around and again trying to find these little kinks in the armor of BattleB to try to force him into creep, try to pressure him to push out.
Yeah, as once again Wayne unable to deny the expansion, BattleB will take a 6th CC here towards the left hand side. Wayne now has been able to drone up decently well, up to 87 workers, so he has a solid economy, he has upgrades on the way as well, and it looks like we can catch some of these tanks.
Like so, biles are starting to land on top of the Liberators. A lot of Zergs starting to fall here, but most of that army, most of those losses were Roaches and Ravagers.
Yeah, some big snipes just went off on the Zerg army. BattleB, you can see his supply barely moves as he's pushing on forward, and now this is terrifying. I know that I said that he wants the Terran army to push onto creep, but that's only if Wayne was maxed out. Wayne is still rebuilding after that big loss.
Yeah, he did mostly lose Ravagers, which at this point you do want to get rid of, but he lost too many of his Ravagers. So
Yeah.
we do see BattleB with a huge army supply advantage, now starting to push his way forward, and there's not a whole lot that Wayne can do about it.
Yeah, BattleB, he has a super maxed army with only 63 SCVs, so he has a massive supply working within the tanks there. So many of them encroaching on the upon the bases of Wayne, and Wayne just cannot break this. Not this many tanks, not this many Liberators.
No, he cannot. Not without Brute Lords or Corruptors, anyway.
Yeah,
Instead, we see Wayne kind of sneaking around and trying to force a base trade.
yeah, he's gonna try to force back the army. He's collapsing on the planetary, and these Hydras, they can bring it down. It's a lot of Hydras, though. This is an expensive trade here for Wayne.
Yeah, taking out that planetary was one thing, but losing all those Hydras to the tanks is another. And we can see BattleB completely unflinching. He brought back his ghosts to try to deal with this, but he still has this impregnable fortress of tanks right over here in the middle of the map.
Yeah, Lings, they flood in. They get 1 tank. The second tank barely survives as well. A nice hold out of BattleB. Does reposition his ghost. And again, it's just purely ghost tank liberator. Very little Marines, very little bio support here. It's just such an intense, such a gas-intensive army here for BattleB. But he's pushing forward. He's gaining more ground.
Like so, slowly but surely leapfrogging his tanks over, making sure that every time he does move forward, he's able to establish a foothold closer and closer into Wayne's territory.
And Wayne just can't stop this. He cannot stop the tide of Terran here. Hydras, they deny the 6th base, but that's the 6th base. It doesn't even matter at this point as BattleB is going for the kill. He's going for the main. He's slowly edging ever closer. Liberators, tanks are all gaining ground, and the Lurkers are being forced further and further back.
Like so, Liberators, man, they're pretty good.
Yeah, pretty good.
I don't understand why Zerg and Protoss don't make them.
True, as the Lurkers are going down one after the other. Massive snipes going off, and you see that again, Wayne just cannot engage with the main army, being forced into his own main base. Liberation has arrived. GG gets called, and BattleB takes the 2-0.
Just like so. Oof. iPhone falls here.
Oh my god.
Wayne, a little bit of ceiling view, but yeah, GG, very nicely done here from BattleB. A very commanding victory, a very commanding 2-0 coming out from him will give his team a very significant lead as we go into our next match.
Yeah, winding it back, it all came down to the all-ins for Wayne. Wayne went for an all-in in Game 1 and in Game 2. Game 2 was looking a lot more successful for Wayne. If you remember, he was able to catch the army unsieged and deal with all the tanks early on. But if you remember, Wayne, after dealing with the main army, he had a really hard time getting any extra damage from there. It looked like Wayne had left his army a little bit idle, and there was that one tank on the high ground that was just shelling away at the Ravagers, and Wayne didn't deal enough economic damage. Sure, he dealt with the main army, but he didn't touch the economy. So BattleB just recovered. He just recovered, he recovered, he maintained his lead, and BattleB was still in control.
Yeah, BattleB was always in control. He was in control right at the beginning when he was able to split up Wayne's attention, land that double drop, and kill, I think, 8 drones or something like that.
Yeah.
Taking a little bit of a lead, moving into that all-in. And then, like you said, he traded an army for an army, but never took any damage to his economy, never had his mineral lines touched at all. Plus, he had mules. So behind all of that, BattleB just kept getting further and further and further ahead.
Yeah, exactly. So a rough series there for Wayne. Game 1 was more straightforward. Game 1 was, BattleB just having an even stronger defense there against the all-in. Game 2 was closer.
He didn't get got.
He did not get got. And now it comes down to Cham versus GunGFuBanDa. GunGFuBanDa needs 1 win to claim a victory for his team. Cham needs a 2-0 to force the ace match.
Indeed, things are looking pretty dire here for Starlight Twinkle, but if there was ever a player to make a comeback here for the team, it would be El Campeón.
Oh, El Champion, papi, El Champion. Let's go. Cham is going to be coming up next. And as you mentioned, Cham, he's not the most active player nowadays. He's not the most macro player or solid player, but he's all about the chaos. And he's similar to Wayne, where we saw Wayne go for all these all-ins. Cham also has a very aggressive play style, but it's a little bit more stylistic, I should say. And Cham has just his own approach to things. Likewise, GunGFuBanDa, not the most consistent of players. Coming into this season, I wanted to say that maybe GunGFuBanDa was the ace player, but I feel like over the course of the season, we've seen DNS like cement himself a little bit more, and GunGFuBanDa hasn't really been able to kind of spark that flame like we expected him to.
Yeah, I think GunGFuBanDa has been able to clutch out key victories here and there for Berserker eSports. Was able to punch way above his weight a couple of times, but like you said, DNS was just has been so much more consistent. GunGFuBanDa has been able to punch above his weight, but at the same time, he has dropped maps against players who initially we thought he would be favored against. So yeah, a little bit of inconsistency going on there. Still a very, very fantastic player in his own right, but just needs to be able to. I'm trying to find another way to say be consistent, because I feel like I've said that word so many times it's starting to lose meaning.
True.
Yeah, he's shown moments of brilliance, but needs it to be spread out a little bit more evenly, you know?
Yeah, now is the time where we really need to see GunGFuBanDa at his best, right? It's like we're nearing the end of the season. There's only a handful of rounds and a handful of weeks left in WTL, so it's now or never for GunGFuBanDa. I mean, when it comes to this series, he does have a little bit of wiggle room. As we mentioned, he only needs to win 1 game. Only 1 game here needs to be taken for Berserker eSports to be victorious. So there's a little bit less pressure on GunGFuBanDa, but we'll see how he is able to compare here to Cham.
Indeed, we shall. We keep our eyes peeled, and we'll see what both players really have to throw out here. My eyes a little bit more on Cham, not just because of the fact that Starlight Twinkle needs a 2-0, but also because, like you said, it's been a little while since I've been able to cast Cham, and he is a very stylistic player. He does do things. He never does things quite the same as other players out there, let me put it that way.
Exactly. And Cham, does he have a new chair, or is that a beach towel over his chair?
That's a beach towel.
Okay.
That's a beach towel in the bottom left. We have a blue player coming up from Starlight Twinkle. Cham?
And at the top right, we have for Berserker eSports, GunGFuBanDa. And what I was alluding to was that Cham was pulling a bit of a Mio Micah, and it looks like he's been out there with the beaches, papi. And oh boy, Cham, we'll see if that helps him secure this win. As you mentioned, he needs the tour.
You just unlocked a core memory in my head when you said pulling a bit of a Mio Micah there. Cham versus Mio Micah in that show match that we hosted. Mio Micah took the victory there, and immediately afterwards, Cham was like, bro, what just happened? He plays so weird.
Cham, he always wanted that rematch. He always wanted another show match with me and Micah. Never did happen, unfortunately, never did occur, but maybe sometime in the future. Regardless, Cham, he has been out there, enjoying the sun, not being a full degen, and will that help out as we're leading into post-youth for game 1?
Yeah, this was neither player's choice, but we're just throwing them off the deep end. looking to see what they can whip out. I cannot believe it took me this long to notice the Ewok at the top of the gold base.
Oh my god, I didn't even notice that as well. Is he destroying that? Like there's like a banshee on
Looks like
on
he
something.
is, yeah.
He bring it down?
Just banging on the, yeah.
When full
Just
Return of the
whacking the
Jedi,
bases,
yeah,
exactly.
he threw some rocks at the spaceship and he knocked it down. Oh, there's more up there as well.
And now he's bashing its, now he's just bashing it. There it is.
Yeah. Oh my god.
Bashing it with a stick. Wow.
There you go. Yaku, don't let anyone ever tell you you're blind. You know, you notice what's important.
Yeah, exactly. My eyes are open.
Let's go. As we are going to be settling in for now, Hatch Gas Pool, we have some pretty standard openers for the time being for both players, but of course we're on post-youth, we have the hybrid bases, we have the excess minerals going to be kicking in, and that is going to impact the Zerg player a little bit more than the Protoss here, at least in this current game state. I mean, GunGFuBanDa could try to embrace, you know, Charge as a follow-up, for example, but that has really fallen off nowadays. We very rarely get to see, you know, Charge or Archon, unless we're talking about Krystianer.
Pretty much, yeah. This is the one player who just consistently whips it out in PvZ now.
Yeah, it's not his build, but he's kind of made it into his own, you know, just avoiding Blink Stalkers, rushing to Charge or Archon. Alas, now we're focusing on GunGFuBanDa, and he's going for a Stargate opener.
Yeah. It's like, is this your build? It is now.
True. It's like Beyond with the 2-Axe Reaper.
Oh yeah, the good old Beyond build, you know?
True. It is the. I mean, he turned it into his own. It is the Beyond build.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Special. It's not yours anymore.
Yeah.
But yeah, for now, it's going to be Stargate Opener, not Oracle. Interesting. Going for a Void Ray first. And what is intriguing here is that we have options. We can go Void Ray into a standard game with a third base, into +1 Blink Stalkers, or this could even be a Void Ray into a second Stargate, into a Fleet Beacon. It could be into Glaive Adepts. GunGFuBanDa, he has options.
Yeah. He's keeping things hidden for the most part, getting a second Oracle after that initial Void Ray, but the main thing here is that Cham is playing in the dark. He is going to have to take precaution just because he doesn't know what he's up against.
Exactly. He has to be that much more active with these links. He has to play things out safely as well. Void Ray's moving out. We already hunted down one Overlord, and it looks like we do come across a second Overlord as well. So nice pickoffs here out of GunGFuBanDa. Meanwhile, Cham is rushing into a lair. That is a around 4-minute 15 lair timing.
Yeah. So another... Well, I was going to say another Roach-focused build, but we're keeping our eyes peeled on the production tab. There's a Roach Horn being thrown down. I believe it does get scouted, though, by GunGFuBanDa.
Ooh, at the same time, Oracle does hit the third base. 3 drones going to get picked off. Not bad. But with this lair, this could just be from a fast Roach speed into a Roach-based all-in. This could be for a Nidus Worm to send our queens across the map. But we can see that Cham is actually droning. Cham is droning. Cham is taking the hatchery. He's taking the gold. So it looks like Cham was just rushing into this lair for maybe even just an Overseer scout to get across the map.
The fake-out rush. You'll love to see it. At least I do.
As the 2 Oracles, they do head towards the main. Adepts have reached the front lines as well, and now the defenses of Cham are going to be tested. Can he maintain his economy here as drones, once again, are going down?
Left and right. Cham gonna try to make up for it with this earlier gold base, but let's see if he can actually mine from it. Spire gets thrown down, and we're seeing a lot more gases. You know what this means.
Hydras.
Let's go. Actually, yeah.
Wait. He does get Baffy. It didn't get scouted though, right? Am I crazy? It didn't get scouted.
I don't think it did.
Okay. So I was about to go off and be like, that's why we had the fast lair. We're rushing into Spire tech, but no, we canceled the Spire. We're going for Roach speed. At Cham, we mentioned Miyamika earlier, and again, Cham doing a bit of a Miyamika himself, going for tech, canceling it, switching gears entirely. Yeah, you just can't call anything against Cham. Can't do it.
Yeah, you can't do it. He's infected with the cat spirit.
Let's go. No, really, he's listening to the stream. He's like, "Yo, I got you. You want to call Hydras? I will cancel the Spire."
Yeah,
let's go to back.
He's building He's basically playing to spite us. It's what he's doing right now.
For now, it's just going to be Lingbane Roach Ravager.
And I like it.
Yeah. It's going to be Lingbane Roach Ravager for the time being, which is a solid composition in the mid game here for Cham. Meanwhile, we can see GunGFuBanDa taking up even further, working towards additional gateways, +1, Blink. We have the Bay on the way for Colossus production as well. Oh, and Cham does bleed off a lot of lanes here, just trying to get some scouting information, trying to get a read on what the army composition is looking like.
Yeah, and he does get his info. Will have to pay the blood price for it, though.
Yeah, he does get eyes on all those stalkers, so he should be fully aware of the +1 blink that's on the horizon. Unfortunately, no Hydras, which means no lurkers for the time being. Bailey Runway does get caught out.
Like, so, once again, GunGFuBanDa just not going to be able to not going to be taking any damage in his mineral lines. Going to be continuing to bleed out more and more of Cham's units.
You're going to bleed them out. Cham going to be cutting workers. I say cutting workers. At full base saturation, 74 SCVs. Drones for Cham. Not a bad economy here for the Zerg player. And now he's just focusing on maxing out. He's just amassing more Lingbane Roach Ravager. Cham is soon to max out and hit the goal base. And is GunGFuBanDa going to be able to hold on?
I feel that Freudian slip. I feel ya. You too want the boys to be pulled. That's why you call them SCVs, and I feel ya.
You've incepted the brain.
Yeah. I don't think we're gonna see that from GunGFuBanDa anytime soon, but you know what? We might now.
There you go. Might see it.
Eventually we might.
Yeah, Cham is massing out more Lingbane. Infestation bits on the way, so Cham is not neglecting his tech. With that, he'll gain access to Hive to work towards Vipers, to work towards Ultras as well. I'm assuming Ultras over Lurkers just because of the upgrades, but we do see Cham splitting up his army. Does distract the Stalkers, and now he's going for the throat, he's going for the main.
Yeah, really good wall here from GunGFuBanDa, but we are looking to deal with it. Baneling's not actually connecting with core units here, connecting with Immortals and Stalkers, but I guess it kind of softens up the army. Cham kind of going back and forth between the bases, not really striking in one location.
Yeah, a bit of a messy fight here at Cham, fighting in 3 locations at once. Banelings are rolling in. Can he get into the mineral line? So far, he's not really done too much economic damage, but Banelings, they do get in towards that hybrid base.
Ooh!
Up!
And we will see 2 connections in the end here. Could have been worse here for GunGFuBanDa, but 16 probes is decent damage. I say decent damage because Cham is kind of sacrificing his army to get here. 32 probes go down, and that is the number to make it all worth it.
There we go. 2 mineral lines go down. Not bad. GunGFuBanDa's economy is crippled. And look at that creep thread. Again, Cham, he has time to rebuild. He has time to remax. It's going to take some time here for GunGFuBanDa to break through this creep and to get onto the bases of Cham. And by the time he does, Cham should be ready for this.
That he should. Already looking to remax. He is a little bit of ways off. Doesn't quite have that massive gas bank that will allow him to just throw units at the Protoss wall and just keep remaxing over and over again, but we're getting there. And like I said, GunGFuBanDa is in a much more precarious economic position than he really should be at this point.
Yeah, GunGFuBanDa, his economy is crippled, and Cham, he's getting ready to rock up once again. Cham a little bit premature. His army is staggering in, but it looks like he should have enough. I mean, good force fields here out of GunGFuBanDa.
Yeah, really funneling a lot of these Banelings into a bit of a meat grinder, maximizing the potential of his Colossus. Colossus are a little bit exposed, but there's barely an army remaining here for Cham, so yeah, they're actually able to hold their own.
Yes.
Not without losing the gold base, though.
Exactly. Cham, in the midst of that fight, he distracted the main army. He took down the gold. He got into the mineral line. 14 probes go down. Now, Cham may lose his own gold in the process, but again, time is on his side. He has to just buy time to rebuild, to remax. That is 4 Colossus, though. GunGFuBanDa, he's completely all in.
Yeah, he's got to be at this point, and the worrisome part right now is wondering whether or not Cham has poked the bear. Does he actually have enough units left over behind all of this to defend against a counterattack?
Well, that's the question. Bailey's they do roll in. They crash in towards the Gateway army. The Colossus is going to be able to kite away, but not the Immortal and not some of these Stalkers.
Yeah, Banelings will connect, but Banelings against Stalkers, not the best trade, not the best target. Colossus starting to take hull damage, but it will kite to the high ground and still survive.
Oh, they still barely do survive. Bailey's to get into the mineral line. Probes are going down. AMO workers full. GunGFuBanDa barely had an economy to begin with. Now it's that much weaker, but he does maintain all 4 of his Colossus. Still has the backbone of his army still standing, but again, Cham can remax.
Indeed he can. Yeah, indeed he can. I was going to say it's going to take him a while, but he's still got 72 drones. He's still got 6-ish, 5 bases now. Used to be 6 of the gold, but now it's 5. So, yeah, he's getting there. And just looking at the incomes, just looking at the army supplies tells you all you need to know about what the incomes are looking like right now.
Exactly. Cham is just able to rebuild his army time and time again. GunGFuBanDa again has been able to retain his Colossus, which is impressive. Very impressive stuff here out of GunGFuBanDa. He is able to stay in this game as a result of that. But the pressure is on. He has to get some damage done, and he will go for a run by. He does catch a queen, but not much more.
Not much indeed. Really struggling to find value here is GunGFuBanDa.
Exactly, and Cham, we called his infestation bit earlier, and the hive is done. We have Adrenal on the way. We have +3, and more importantly, Viper production. These Colossus, they've been eluding Cham's army for so long in this game, but the Vipers will make short work of those Colossus. Give us a couple of yoinks, and we can shut this army down.
Yeah, that we can. GunGFuBanDa still has a Stargate going, still does have this one Void Ray, but it's gonna be, this Void Ray has its work cut out for him to take out if it wants to take out all of the Vipers that Cham has produced.
Exactly. It's gonna be a tough ask here for the anti-air of GunGFuBanDa. Even if the Vipers go down, if they can still get the yoinks off, then that could still spell the end for the Protoss. As Cham is remaxed, he's regathered energy on those Vipers, and he is now moving in. I believe the Oracle does catch wind of this. The Oracle is aware of the army at least, so the army's going to be able to rotate over in time. But Cham, he's just setting up for the concave for the surround.
Yeah, really good choke point here to utilize for GunGFuBanDa, but here's the first yoink!
Yeah, we get the first.
And we don't even need a second.
We get the first Colossus. The other 2 fall immediately as well. There's only 1 Colossus left. The base is under fire. Bar's going to be connecting, and the Nexus is going to fall.
And just like that, Cham hasn't quite broken GunGFuBanDa yet, but he is getting there. There's a lot of noticeable damage. 1 more assault is all it really takes for him to break the backbone of GunGFuBanDa.
Yeah, GunGFuBanDa, he's just running out of steam. He's running out of armor. We collapse here on top of what little is left of GunGFuBanDa. He will juggle his heart out, but alas, there's only so much he can save.
And the Vipers do get sniped by the Void Ray of GunGFuBanDa, so really high-profile pickoffs, but like you mentioned, he doesn't really have much remaining regardless. Banelings are going to pop, and they're gonna not connect to the Colossus.
Not quite. Bailing's gonna be shut down, so efficient trades here for GunGFuBanDa. But as you mentioned, he's down to 1 Void Ray, 1 Colossus, 1 Oracle, like just barely any units to work with.
1-1-1.
Yeah. Not as strong for Protoss, yeah, unfortunately.
Apparently not. See, there's your problem.
True. Overcharge going to be popped. Again, we're actually trading quite efficiently considering the kind of state of the army here for GunGFuBanDa. Takes down a lot of the Roach Ravager, but the army will still be broken. The Colossus barely surviving. The Micro pop. Oh my god.
And the Micro's looking really good, but Micro can only take you so far. In the end, the Colossus will fall, and there's just not much of an army remaining here for GunGFuBanDa. This 1 Void Ray is putting in a lot of work, let me tell you, but it's not going to be enough.
Yeah, we do force back the Roach Ling, but it costs us all the Colossus, so now the Colossus count is reset. Zelt's going to shut down the Roaches as well. Very efficient trades here to GunGFuBanDa. And once again, GunGFuBanDa, he barely holds on. He has a decent army here as well, but I don't think GunGFuBanDa has any pushing power. That's the problem, is that he can take these fights defensively, but not so much offensively.
And if he isn't able to go on the offensive, Cham is just going to get bigger and bigger and bigger when it comes to his mineral income and his gas income as well. Mm-hmm. And he's just going to get bigger and bigger and bigger when it comes to his army supply too.
exactly. That one, I would love to know how many kills that Void Ray has. it's been around.
It's getting a promotion, yeah, after this.
It's been around for a long time, just getting some free damage here, but finally we get a power bomb. Ooh, one of the Vipers almost going to be going down. We collapse onto the Archons. Blinding Cloud as well on top of the army, just ensuring that the Protoss cannot kite back. Once again, we trade pretty well. The Archons do hold their own.
The Archons do hold their own, but the Banelings do slip through. And another mineral line is just completely forfeit.
Not like this. I think they crash into the Nexus towards the end as well. The Nexus getting very low as 21 probes do fall. We still have some workers left over. We can still saturate the gold base. Again, it's impressive that GunGFuBanDa has been able to survive for as long as he has. And is now moving out. This is a risky move here by the Protoss.
All right, 5 Archons in a dream. Let's go.
Five Archons, they're good, but again, on creep, yeah, they're being shut down. They're being completely shut down. The punish is real here, and GunGFuBanDa bleeds out so much of his army.
GG is called, and Cham is going to be taking game number 1, putting his team back on the road to recovery.
Whew. GG, well played. El Chamaco does it again. He does take the game. It was a very intense one, though, despite the lead, despite the advantage, and it's on GunGFuBanDa to fight back, and here we go. We're loading into game number 2, and in the bottom right-hand corner, we have Cham for Starlight Twinkle.
Every in the top left, we have a red Protoss player for Berserker eSports, Krystianer, Germany. It's GunGFuBanDa.
I gave you more time to wind up, Bobby. Hey, you got it out. You got it out.
Gave me more time to wind up, and I wound it.
Yeah. Like a clock.
Yeah. Tick, tick.
God.
On your bricks.
As we just
ways of making you talk. Talk.
Is that the song? Are you rapping right now?
Yeah, that's the thing, right? I make you tick. I can get you to talk.
There you go.
Or if you can figure out what makes someone tick, you can get them to talk.
Okay. Okay, Yaku. As we do see some standard openers. Cham force take the unnatural natural, force to expand elsewhere. That could come into play here. And you called it before as Cham pulls the boys and does lose mining time in the main base. Not quite worth it for Cham, but you called it before. Usually whenever we get a map pick, Oceanborn, it's up there when it comes to how popular it is for these players.
Yeah. 60% of the time it's Oceanborn. 30% of the time it's 30% of the time it's Site Delta. Oh no, 20% of the time it's Site Delta. 15% of the time it's Alcione. 5% of the time it's literally any other map.
5% of the time it's, what is it? Concentrated power of will?
Yeah?
Yeah.
It's 4% pride, 4% power, 4% surrender, 4% devour, 4% hungry.
I don't think that's part of the lyrics. I don't think that's true, Yaku. I don't.
How's it go?
I don't. We just,
it's 4% pride, 4% power, 4% hunger, 4% devour.
Is that the lyrics? No shot. Look, I don't know the song.
Those are my lyrics.
Okay, fair enough. As the Adept is going to get across the map again, just threatening a shade. It's going to be a Stargate behind this into Oracle, I imagine. And we did go Void Ray last game, and to be fair, the Void Ray did pay for itself, more than pay for itself. Like, that Void Ray was, I would say, the MVP of the game.
Yeah.
Popped off.
It was the MVP. It didn't win. It didn't win him the game, but but it still was key in so many of these offenses that GunGFuBanDa had. It took out the Vipers before the Vipers could really do too much. It ended up cleaning up a lot more Lings and Banes than it really should have. Cham, for whatever reason, just completely neglected his anti-air for the entirety of that game.
Yeah, exactly. And again, because of that, GunGFuBanDa was able to trade surprisingly efficiently with what little he had. This time, though, it's going to be an Oracle opener. No Void Ray in sight for the time being, so something a little bit more standard. And hey, I mean, those adepts they popped off, they already got 4 drone kills. Not a bad start for GunGFuBanDa.
Yeah. Let's see if he can keep this going. Again, we've been stressing a lot how close game number 1 was, and I think it's probably bears repeating. GunGFuBanDa only needs to win one. He only needs to win this one map, and his team is going to be secure, is going to be not quite secure for the playoffs, but going to have a much, much easier time, or much, much better chances making it to those playoffs.
Oh yeah, we'll have much better chances, and we'll see if he can pull it off here as Lings. They do hit the third. Just going to be threatening as the Oracles will be able to fend them off. Third Oracle's on the way, so triple Oracle opener into a third base. GunGFuBanDa going for the most standard of builds so far. Yeah, nothing too crazy out of him, just trying to settle into the mid game.
Yeah, it's where GunGFuBanDa typically is most comfortable. In fact, we saw it in that last game as well. GunGFuBanDa had a really, really strong setup on those 4 bases. One of those 4 bases being the gold base as well. But unfortunately, a couple of Banes were able to slip through the cracks and was able to shut him down. If GunGFuBanDa is able to kind of replicate something similar here on Oceanborn, it's a much more defensible map. If he is able to get to his 4-base setup, I have to imagine he's going to have a much easier time maxing out and getting to his final form, which he wasn't quite able to on post-U.
Yeah, exactly. So we'll see if he can on Oceanborn. So far, so good for GunGFuBanDa. You have +1 on the way, you have Blink on the way. Link counterattack is going to slip into the mineral line and is going to keep GunGFuBanDa busy. But for the most part, he shouldn't really take too many losses, and yeah, doesn't lose any probes.
Like so. Meanwhile, Cham still, once again, sharking around with these Lings. Hasn't quite hasn't quite committed to an upgrade path yet, but he is getting quite a lot of roaches here.
Yeah, Cham cutting work is at 56. That is just under 3-base saturation for the Zerg player is massing Lings and roaches. The main army is not spotted, by the way, but there we go. Cham has to respond, and the 4th base is under fire.
And now it's the drones that are starting to go down. Roaches do appear, but we do force a recall thanks to all of these Lings in the 3rd base mineral line. Battery overcharge does get popped, but does fall as well. Really good drone drilling coming out here from GunGFuBanDa.
Yeah, not losing
a single probe, yeah.
Impressive. The workers are still maintained for GunGFuBanDa, but the shield battery goes down, which means, well, the overcharge was just popped as well, so that 3rd base is much more vulnerable, and here we go, Cham sending everything across the map. Lings are on the way, Ravagers are on the way, Cham is sending it, he's committed, and can he break the 3rd once again?
Well, he's looking to. The only thing missing here in the army of Cham are the queens, but he might not even need them.
And we'll see, he does collapse on the army, does go for the surround. Shield battery will finish up just in time, but they get a nice surround nonetheless. Ravager's finally going to be approaching. Bar's going to be thrown down, alas they will connect, but Cham, he doesn't break through yet. Does catch the Immortal.
Yeah, which is already a very high value pickoff. Biles are going to land on top of all these stalkers, and the mineral line is in a lot of trouble all of a sudden.
Yeah, the blink was a little bit too late. The Biles did connect. We're breaking the 3rd base. There are a handful of stalkers, but it's not going to be enough.
GG is called. Cham going to be able to take the 2-0 victory here, keeping his chances for his team alive and forcing out that ace match.
GG, the pistol fingers are real there. Cham does take the 2-0, and we are going all the way to that final game. And who do we rely on? Are we going to see an ace match between Krystianer and DNS?
That's probably the best bet here, right? That's probably the safest bet, which is why I think it's going to be BattleB versus Cham.
I mean, it could be. They're the only 2 players that did take the 2-0s in their favor. True. But we'll see how we approach this. As a reminder, best of one ace match is upon us, and it's going to be on Oceanborn.
Boo.
I feel like we just keep seeing Oceanborn.
Keep seeing Ocean, yeah.
I'm so wet. Get me out of the water.
Yeah. I'm wrinkly under all this water. The salt. It's gotten to me.
Yeah, the soul
Being
is...
munched on by a shark and a crocodile, and stung by a jellyfish.
soul
Because that's
is...
what happens when you're born in the kind of Indian Ocean-ish waters. I say Indian Ocean, but I'm pretty sure I'm in the Pacific.
The Zergmuda Triangle, if you will.
Yeah, the Berserker Triangle, exactly.
Hey.
You know, that's sort of Southeast Asia / Australia coast.
There you go. There you go.
It's like not quite the Gold Coast.
But
It's a goldish coast.
if you're in the chat, then who do you think it's going to be? You know, who do you believe is going to be the ace player here? I'm still leaning towards Krystianer and DNS, but I could see an argument for Cham and BattleB.
Yeah. That argument being, it would be interesting or exciting. Not that DNS and Krystianer wasn't exciting. It was very, very close. It was very, very hype, but yeah, I do feel like both BattleB and Cham are two very stylistic players, or two of the more stylistic players on your team, so we put it that way.
Oh yeah, they are very stylistic, and as you said, like, it would be a lot of fun to see them face off against each other. A lot of it is going to come down to as well the players and how confident they feel. I'm sure BattleB is probably feeling really confident for Berserker. Like, I think there's a higher chance that he comes out. I don't know if Cham wants to risk it again. Like, he's a very aggressive player. He's very in your face, but after everyone saw him take down GunGFuBanDa 2-0, I feel like whether it's DNS or BattleB, like, they're going to be a little bit more on notice against Cham.
Yeah, I think the safe bet is probably Krystianer versus DNS. I think the alternate bet is going to be Cham versus BattleB, but the way you put it, after listening to you explain how the psyches of these players might be at this point, BattleB versus Krystianer might be the wild card.
Yeah, I can definitely see that as well. I don't know how confident BattleB feels in TVP specifically, but if he's feeling on point tonight, if he's feeling good and strong and powerful, then we could see a TVP instead. I think we're both kind of ruling out Wayne and GunGFuBanDa. They could come out, definitely they could, but well, they did also...
Here's the thing, if I know anything about Wayne, after a little bit of time to look back on the series, he probably isn't going to be the ace player if he just played. But if I know anything about Wayne, I know that he does like to prove himself in these matches. So I can see Wayne coming out here as the wild card for Starlight Twinkle, but I do think that Starlight Twinkle is going to want to play it a bit safer.
Yeah, I agree. Like, both Wayne and GunGFuBanDa, they can be quite emotional players, especially if you know, things don't go their way, and I think we saw that in both their matches. And as you said, thankfully Wayne has had some time to, you know, look over his matches and take in the loss and, you know, calm things down a little bit. So you could definitely see a world where maybe he comes out instead. But yeah, so a really, really important choice is about to be made here for both teams.
Yeah, because again, both of these teams are facing elimination. If they want to make it to the playoffs, they have to win this week, and then they have to keep winning the next couple of group stage rounds afterwards. So, very, very important match that we have. A very, very important ace match that we have here tonight.
Oh, yeah. Very, very crucial match here for both these teams to not just have a chance at making it into the playoffs, but also to avoid relegation. As a reminder, the bottom two teams will be relegated to Code A next season, will they have to try to re-qualify for Code S. So you want to avoid that as much as possible, and both these teams are nearing towards the bottom of the standings, so there is a risk of relegation.
Yeah. It's a very real possibility for both of these players or both of these teams, as we make it towards the end of our group stage.
Oh yeah, so they want to avoid that for as long as they can, at least until then. Looks like our teams are still deliberating amongst themselves, still trying to figure out how and where they want to approach this and where they want to take us. The pressure is on. I'm sure they also are trying to counterpick as well, right? Like, they're trying to guess who their opposing team is also going to bring out and try to snipe and try to give their own player the best chance they have coming into this.
Yeah. They're trying to look ahead, you know, they're trying to both play 9D chess, but Yeah, not sure. They have to account for every factor going into this pick, right? So
Mhm.
you have to think, okay, who's most likely to come out, but also they're probably betting on us sending out the most likely player, the ace player, so they might have a snipe prepared, so on and so forth. There's so many factors at play that I'm having trouble explaining them. And my mind can't keep track of them.
It's there's a lot of factors that can come into play here, and I guess for now, I mean, we've been talking for quite some time. I was gonna cut to a break, but like I feel like we should be nearing a decision here.
If we cut to a break, immediately they're gonna reveal the player.
They will.
We don't want. Yeah, we don't want to know. We'd rather keep this going.
Yeah, true.
So far, I'm seeing in the chat a lot of players, a lot of viewers saying Cham is most likely to come out for Starlight Twinkle. I see a couple of people saying Cham versus BattleB, which I would not be opposed to. I think it would be a very unique matchup.
Yeah, it'll be a lot of fun, 100%. It's one of those things where like it's a best of one as well, right? You have to bear that in mind.
Yeah,
it's gonna be the best of one.
Oh, and here we go. The safe choice has been chosen. It's gonna be Krystianer versus DNS in a bit of a rematch, which on the one hand is a safe choice, is not that wild, but on the other hand, it will settle the best of three, as both of them went 1-1 in their initial match.
Yeah, we if you remember, we did kind of call these two as the ace players for the team, and that is going to continue to be the case here. As in the top left, we do have Krystianer for Starlight Twinkle.
Over here, bottom right, we have a red Protoss player coming out from the land of France. You can see the French flag in the background. I like it. He is going to be the ace player for Berserker eSports, CNS. Stands for Do Not Surrender.
There you go. And again, like, this had to be the match. We spoke earlier, we were praising both Krystianer and DNS for, you know, being the players that their teams can rely upon whenever they need the most. They are the ace players for their respective teams, Berserker eSports and Starlight Twinkle. And now they're coming out to end the beef, right? It's like there was a little bit of, there's just a little bit of that kind of, I almost said animosity, not quite, but bit of an enigma as to whether or not who's the better player, who's the stronger player here tonight. We're tied up 1-1 between the two of them, and it comes down to this.
A little bit of an unsettled score, if you will.
Yeah.
A beef.
Exactly.
Where's the beef?
And we're here to settle that beef, to cook it, not make it well done.
Grill it. Yeah. Get it rare and bloody.
I wouldn't go that far, wouldn't But here we go. For now, it's going to be a 2-gate opener. Oh, sorry, a double-gate opener here out of both Krystianer and DNS. Nothing crazy yet. So the last time we were on this map, if you remember, DNS did go for a one-base all-in with a proxy robo. Once again, the pylons being proxied, but this time we are not committing to a proxy on the map. It is merely at the natural.
Yeah. This time it is going to be much more of a fake-out proxy coming out here from DNS, and I like this a lot. I'm sure the last game that they played is definitely going to be on both of their minds, so for DNS to try to take advantage of this and to try to say, hey, you remember how I proxy roboed you that last time? You probably want to defend against that, don't you?
Yeah, exactly. The mind games. The mind games are real. Basically, DNS is making it look like the same build as previously, when we can see it's going to be a proxy Stargate instead. So just a way to get an economic advantage, get some economic damage, and expand behind.
Quote-unquote proxy.
Yeah.
As, of course, this is more to try to force a reaction and overreaction out of Krystianer. Which he isn't so far.
And so far, we're just kind of calming things down. We're settling in. We do have our initial depths moving out across the map. Oracle as well. And Krystianer, he does not take the bait. He does expand, and he does have Stalkers getting in position. With the help of the hallucination, we should be able to confirm the build of choice of DNS.
Yeah, Phoenix should just about confirm it with that Scout. And with the Scout, yeah, he's going to be feeling a lot safer in his defense here. He knows that he doesn't need to throw down a robo facility or anything like that. He doesn't need any additional shield batteries. He just needs to make sure his stalkers are in position and to pull his probes away if when necessary.
We'll be able to pull away, we'll be able to react. No shield battery, but as you mentioned, we have 3 stalkers and a sentry, so we're going to be able to defend, going to be able to maintain our main base. Adepts are going to be threatening that wall, but so far so good. Krystianer is holding.
Like so. Again, that's not going to commit to that shade, as said. It will mean death for these adepts. Will commit to this shade, though, potentially.
Yeah, it does shade in towards the main base. The stalkers are in position. We do not commit. Not yet. We have double Oracle, though they hit they hit the natural. Alas, Krystianer is in position.
And this time he will commit to a shade just to try to force some attention away here from Krystianer. Adept's actually taking a couple of stalker shots, and so with that, the Oracles are able to get a couple of volleys in, able to take out 6 probes.
Yeah,
not bad at all.
You can see how just tanky those Adepts are. 6 probes going to be going down, but we do get a surround here on the Oracles, and we're going to shut this down. The Oracles, they will fall. They got 6 probe kills, but was that really worth 2 Adepts and 2 Oracles? Not the best trade for DNS.
I think you can probably make an argument that it's worth 2 Oracles, but 2 Oracles and 2 Adepts? Not at all. Not at all.
And with that, Krystianer does take the Stalker lead. Behind this, working towards Blink, working towards a Robo. Looks like we're not really going to be too active yet. Just building up and waiting for our upgrades before we do be active on the map. So Krystianer taking it slow here. Likewise, DNS trying to muster up his own defenses just in case.
Yeah, just in case, but we can see that he has other plans. Pylon gets thrown down on Krystianer's side of the map, and that probe is staying put. He wants the proxy.
Yeah, so
he's gonna get scouted.
We have a 3rd gateway back in for DNS, and he's going for a 4th gateway across the map. This looks like the beginnings of a 2-base all-in, but as you mentioned, the probe does come in, and Krystianer sees everything.
And this is now going to be cancelled. Unless DNS can hoof it across the map in time. He is starting to warp in a couple more stalkers. This is mostly just to distract the main army and keep the pylon alive.
Yeah, there we go. Blink isn't done, by the way. Krystianer, without Blink, he's going to get caught out. He does shut down the reinforcing stalkers, but likewise bleeds out his own. Is going to try to get away. There we go. Blink just now kicking in. Immortal production has begun. The proxy is still standing strong, and DNS expands. Okay, he's not committing to the all-in. He will expand and try to get into the mid-game.
Yeah, I mean, the proxy did get scouted, so I'm sure DNS is well aware that whatever gambit he had planned isn't going to be as effective this time, so instead he's just going to utilize that proxy as more of a reinforcement point. It's not going to dive into any mineral lines or anything like that. He is just going to try to keep Krystianer on his side of the map while he consolidates his home base.
Yeah, exactly. He's just containing his opponents while he tries to play catch-up. I mean, Krystianer, his 3rd is already done. He's already mining, or he's already taking advantage of his economy. So DNS has a bit of catching up to do, and we'll see what he can get done. He has to be very careful as he does engage with those Immortals. At the same time, he distracts the main army. He does shade into the mineral line.
Yeah, 2 probes for 2 Adepts. Not the most worthwhile trade, but anything DNS can do to try to claw himself back into this game economically is going to be valuable.
Oh yeah. Yeah, so not too bad, not too shabby as we get 2 workers and we pull back. Behind this massive gateway explosion, Krystianer working towards a massive charge composition. I could be mistaken, but I don't think Krystianer has gotten a forge.
I don't believe he does, but he is getting a lot of gateways. So we'll see if he can just overwhelm DNS with quantity over quality here.
Yeah, it's a bold move here by Krystianer to avoid the forge and avoid the upgrades. As you mentioned, he at least has a 4th on the way, so he's looking to maintain his economy. Bearing in mind as well that Krystianer has not taken the gases at his 3rd or at his natural, so he's going to be very committed with mass charge.
And it's on DNS to spot this as early as possible. Because if he doesn't have any Archons, it's difficult to see him holding against the onslaught of Zealots Krystianer is about to throw his way.
Oh yeah, it is going to be a tough hold here as Krystianer is moving out across the map. Meanwhile, DNS still, his own gateways are finishing up. They're still not quite done, so it's going to be a tough hold for the Red Protoss. I say that Krystianer hasn't actually reinforced with Zealots yet. It looks like Krystianer is saturating his 4th and is working towards the next step.
Like so. Okay, yeah, Forge did finish up for Krystianer, so now he is starting to work on those upgrades.
Yeah, we have +1 on the way. We have a Temple of Archives on the way as well for Archon production. So Krystianer is working towards +1, but alas, he will be behind in those upgrades. We'll see if he can find a window of opportunity here. Krystianer is ahead in army supply, but is enough to overcome the shield batteries.
Well, let's find out as Krystianer wants to pounce on top of this. Battery in the background, in the back line, not going to be too exposed here. Battery overcharge does get popped, but it is in the forward shield battery, so it doesn't take much for Krystianer. Just click on it and pop it out. Zealots do fall, but now so will the Adept, and it looks like Krystianer, through sheer forces and numbers, is going to be able to break this.
Yeah, he brute forces his way through. The army does crumble for DNS. The 3rd base has been broken. The shield battery overcharge, of course, did run out. We do have another immortal coming in, but alas, Krystianer, he maintains his own immortal count. He dives on forward, and he brings down the final immortal of DNS.
GG is called. Krystianer is going to be taking the ace match, taking that series for Starlight Twinkle. Whew, boy.
GG, well played. Krystianer, he was able to, of course, maintain his economy, able to shut down the aggression of DNS and snowball into that very committed, very aggressive style. Remember, Krystianer, he hit without +1, without any Archons, but he had a wave of Zealots, and he was able to just overwhelm DNS then and there.
Yeah, that's all you need. That's all you need when your opponent is right in the middle of their transition. GG, very nicely done here from Krystianer, and congratulations to Starlight Twinkle. Could be getting just one step closer to the playoffs.
Yeah, Starlight Twinkle, they already brought down Basilisk earlier in the season, and now they bring down Berserker, and they're on their road to make it to those playoffs. We'll see if they can. For now, we're going to be going on a short break, and when we return, we'll have Team Liquid versus Weibo Gaming.
Yeah, another very similar match. Well, similar is the wrong word, but very close match, I should say. We'll see you then.